Hello guys, how are you? Give me just 1 second here, guys. Okay. Can you please tell me if my sound is good? Let me see who's here. Goddess, how are you, Goddess? Happy to have you here tonight. You love my intro. I'm just stealing some music from internet. Mother of Dragons. Every time I think about Mother of Dragons, you remember me about what was that show? Come on, with dragons. Ah, I forgot that show. Anyways, sorry for that. I'm so slow tonight. Mar, how are you, Mar? Happy to have you here. Let me see. Okay. Tonight Game of Thrones, of course, of course. Thank you so much, Mar. And let me show you something. Let me show you something here. No, it's not here. No, so slow. Sorry for that. I wanted to show you my Game of Thrones t-shirt, but anyways. Guys, tonight I don't have anything to say. If you want if you want to ask me anything, feel free about it. I'm going to drop the link if you want to call. If you are not so shy to call, it's gonna be cool to talk to you guys. House of Dragons. Yeah, cool. Sunflower. How are you, Sunflower? Cool to have you here. That's my all-time favorite. Cool. So, again, if you want to ask me anything, feel free about it. I'm gonna play some music from time to time, just to fill the gaps, just to fill the silences, let's say. So, give me just a couple of seconds here. Okay. So, I'm gonna play music just for fun. And again, ask me anything. I can stop the music anytime about my personal life, about the case, Delphi, about anything you want to talk about Venezuela. That's a subject I really involved. I really love to talk about it, but anyways, just want to talk to you guys, to have some connection to you tonight. So for now, let's go with some music here, and I'm waiting for your questions, let's say. Trouble with my streaming tonight. I don't know why. Give me just 1 second, guys. I'm having a little bit of trouble tonight. I don't know why. I don't know why. So slow as usual, but whatever. 1 second, guys, please. Okay, think. So let me come back to the chat here, guys. How was your week, Cryptex? Good, I hope. Actually, it was just crazy, crazy, crazy. Uh, a lot of work. My dog is alone at home like 12 hours per day. So I'm very stressed when I'm working because I'm thinking about my dog the whole day. But, anyways, next week is gonna be better. Shay Watson is here. How are you, Shay? Happy to have you here. I hope you you can tell us your story someday. I'm in communication with Shay by email. Her story is just crazy, guys. So it's just crazy, crazy. So maybe we can have some chat someday, Shay, if you agree with that. I appreciate your trust, sharing your story with me. I don't know if you're gonna be open to share your story with in the channel someday, but anyways, it's cool to have your trust here. Sunflower, could BG be Ron Logan, but not the killer? That's a great question, and it's not only Ron Logan. BG could be anyone, but not the killer. BG could be uh, Richard Allen. I think that is likely. Richard Allen is likely BG, but how can you say or how can you conclude that Richard Allen is or that Bridge guy is involved in the crime? That's a stretch. It's not something that is so easy to conclude about. And we are trying to frame him as they could have messed with Libby's phone. Yeah, it's hard to say that Britska is someone related to the crime. It's a possibility, but you cannot say with enough evidence or with. Anyways, we don't have enough evidence to say that Britska is related to the crime or that he's the killer. We don't know that. We have some guy in the bridge, some guy walking on the bridge, and that's it. How can you say that that guy was the killer? It's impossible to say that. It's just crazy. You have to be like aligned with law enforcement to push that narrative. But of course, it's something that is not. I don't know, logic to conclude about. Say Watson, that's mass murder. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Thank you for that. Poor Cripsy, yeah. Yeah, I saw. But next week, someone is gonna be with her. So the the pain is over today. So next week she's gonna be with someone at home. Say Watson. My query has separation and anxiety. She has to go everywhere with me. Cripsy is kind of, she's tough. She's really tough. So it's not that bad. But the one who's is stressed the whole day is me. I'm giving it all to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wrong. 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 Drake is not BG. I don't know. I think he is, but at the same time, I'm not discarding Keegan Klein as BG. So there is a spectrum of possibilities. I think that Richard Allen is likely Bridge guy, but I'm not discarding at all Keegan Klein as Bridge Guy. And I don't understand people saying that he was too fat to be Bridge Guy or too big to be Bridge Guy. Come on. Keegan Klein at the time of the murders was not that fat, was not that big. The voice is consistent. He confessed to be uh, near to the crime scene, or no, he confessed to be there. And again, to me, it's not crazy to say that Keegan Klein was Bridge Guy. I think if we have like a spectrum of possibilities, yeah, I'm gonna put Richard Allen in the top, but I cannot discard Keegan Klein as one of the possibilities of being a Bridge Guy at all. And some people say that I have an obsession, that I have a fascination with Keegan Klein. They don't understand my fascination with Keegan. And my answer is I don't understand the lack of fascination with Keegan Klein. Come on. It's like the obvious person here. I don't understand how people are just, I don't know, it's like they are blind. They cannot think about Keegan Klein being part of this crime. I don't understand at all. He was communicating with the Libby the day of the murders. He was communicating to, he was looking for the address of the Marathon gas station the day of the murders. He confessed about the crime. And people are just, no, 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 he's too fat. He's too fat. Come on. He was not that fat. Today he's fat. He's fucking fat. At the time, he was not that fat. And anyways, you don't need to be like a Superman to drive a fucking car, a fucking red Jeep. You just need to be able to enter into a vehicle to drive to the cemetery with your father. That's it. That was his confession. I really don't understand the mind of people saying that it's impossible that Keegan Klein was part of this crime. It's just crazy. I don't know. I really don't understand that. It's just out of my mind. Anyways, this is me, my fascination, my obsession with Keegan, whatever. Shay Watson saying hi to Mar. BG, too tall to be Rick. I don't know. I don't know what's the height of Bridge Guy. It's hard to say because the bright investigators from law enforcement, they were not able to spend $10,000 to determine the height of Bridge Guy. So what was his height? We don't know. We just don't know. And when you see Bridge Guy walking on that bridge, his position, his body position is walking like that, like trying to hide his height. So I tend to agree with Mar here. I think he was taller than we can see in that video because he's pretending to be short because his body position is like that. His head is like looking to the bridge. His shoulders are like that. So I think he's taller. That yeah, you know what I'm trying to say here. I think he's not that short. And yeah, that's a good point, Mar, as usual. Big JD. JD, how are you, Big JD? Happy to have you here. No cryptex, shaking my head. He's not the only one. What do you mean he's not the only one? Do a poll on everyone who confessed and see how it turns to fast for fancies. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people confessed here, but the one who makes the most sense is Keegan Klein, of, in my opinion. Come on, someone communicating with Libby the days prior to the murders. Someone who was sending money to her via the Cash App application. Someone who was supposed to meet her the day of the murders at the Mono Hatch Bridge. But Libby, she didn't show up. Someone who was looking for the address or the address of the Marathon gas station the day of the murders. Are you gonna tell me that he was not the one behind this crime? And he confessed. He confessed. Come on. It's just insane. She wasn't agreed to something. I don't know. Mar is still shaking her head. Have you seen how short Rick is? Yeah, I agree. Anna Lisette. Hey, so cool to have you here, Anna. Anna is one of the best. Keegan could have put something in motion. Once law enforcement focused on Richard Allen, nothing mattered that couldn't be connected to him. Keegan Klein could have put something in motion, of course. He was putting things in motion since forever. Rafael is talking in Spanish. Bridge Guy, el tipo del puente, es una persona que no muchos conocen. Total. ¿Quién es? ¿Quién es Rafael? Rafael sent me a tip, which is just an awesome tip. If you give me permission to talk about your theory, just let me know, Rafael. I'm gonna keep your information like confidential, let's say, but just let me know because it was really interesting. And Lisette, have to wade through Keegan Klein's perpetual lies. He surely didn't drive a red Jeep to the crime. I don't think he drove a red Jeep. Of course, a red Jeep is something that is going to be very easy to spot. So I think this is a red herring, actually. But again, when you think about lies, what is a lie, or who is able to detect a lie? You maybe you're not gonna be able to detect a lie. Me neither. But law enforcement, they have polygraphs, so don't tell me that they didn't know if Keegan Klein was telling the truth or not during that confession. Of course they know. Come on. Mar is laughing about something. Occam Razor is Keegan Klein. So look, go to the encyclopedia or the dictionary, and or go to Google. Go to Google and type Occam's Razor, and the result is gonna be Keegan Klein. It's not gonna be Richard Allen. It's not gonna be Ron Logan. It's not gonna be Brad Holder. Occam's Razor equals Keegan Klein. Come on, it's common sense. I don't understand in this community. I'm not gonna say I'm smart or it's not. That's not the point. It's just common sense, guys. Come on. If you cannot see that Keegan Klein is the main actor in this crime, there's something wrong there. It's like we don't want to see that for some reason. I really don't understand, for real. Maybe it's me being crazy. I don't know. Maybe. Shit. My sorry for that. I have to go for my cell phone. Great. Oh, so great. Oh, shit. Sorry for that. That was an accident. An unexpected accident. Okay, Mar. Big JD, don't tell me you think Richard Allen is guilty. I think he's guilty. I'm not saying he's the killer, but he has part of the guilt, let's say. I know that you hate that, but that's what I think. And I said, Occam's razor is a philosophy exercise and doesn't necessarily apply to crime or human relationships. Yeah, I agree with you. I wonder how bright was a red Jeep. Then one followed me down the road. So bright red. Nothing nefarious here. It was simply behind me on the highway. I think it was a red herring. I'm not sure the car was the red Jeep, but anyways, I really want to know that transcript of the confession of Keegan Klein. The only thing we know was the transcript of the trooper David Vido talking about that confession. So it's like here's your second hearing, let's say. You know what I mean? So we know that David Vido, he confirmed during the testimony he made during the how can we say it was not an interrogation, it was like an examination. I don't remember the proper word here, but Nick McLeland and Brad Rosie, they were interrogating or examining David Vido about that confession of Keegan Klein. David Vido said that Keegan Klein confessed and that there was a red Jeep in that situation. So, according to David Vido, Keegan Klein drove to the cemetery with his father using a red Jeep. This is not a Mandela effect. In one of the lives of Sleuth Intuition, he said that the red Jeep was a Mandela effect. I'm not blaming him for that. We all made mistakes here. Me too. I do a lot of mistakes. It's impossible to remember every single element of this crime. The transcripts, it's hard to remember everything properly. But Sleuth, he said that the red Jeep was a Mandela effect. And it's not. It is in the transcript of David Vido. He talked about the red Jeep in that conversation with Nick McLeland. So the red Jeep is factual in the sense that David Vido, he gave a testimony about that. But it doesn't mean that the actual situation was Keegan Klein driving a red Jeep. I really think that this is unlikely. If you are going to commit a crime, you are not You're not gonna use a red jeep. It's the worst type of vehicle to use to go to commit a crime. Anyway, let's continue here. I'm very random. Mar. Cryptex, then why do you say Rick could be involved if there is no connection to Rick and Keegan Klein? Actually, I think there's a connection. And actually, I think that what's the name of the lawyer? Baldwin. He was telling us that there was some type of connection because when he went to talk to ABC, he clearly said that Tony Klein and Richard Allen were working in the same factory. I'm not saying that this is a proof of anything, but if you say that there's not a possibility of the Kleins and Richard Allen being connected, and especially, you know my theory, just the fact that Richard Allen was arrested after the confession of Keegan Klein. Come on, it's like if I'm gonna do some type of confession, and the next day, right after my confession, Mar is arrested, you can think that there's a connection between Mar and Cryptex. It's not crazy. And then the lawyer of Mar is saying that Mar and the father of Cryptex were working in the same factory and they were living right one to each other in Peru. So I don't know. I think there's a potential connection there. But anyways, I know that you don't like my theory. Mary, how are you, Mary? I enjoyed you being on the show with Jeff. We always believe Richard Allen is innocent. I know that, and I respect that for sure. And yeah, it was fun to be with Jeff in his channel as a guest. Mary is here. Analyzed. I wonder about odds in this case. A number of young girls in Indiana, even in or near Carroll County, were involved with online predators, including Keegan Klein. Yeah, that's crazy, huh? Mary Beanie, Cryptex. Richie Davis mentions Richard Allen. I don't understand your comment. Of course, I don't have any evidence. No one has any evidence here. Of course, I agree with you. There's no evidence at all. Everything is circumstantial. I agree with you. If I was a juror, I cannot vote. I wouldn't vote guilty. Of course, I wouldn't. There was no evidence to convict Richard Allen. But this is a separate thing. One thing is the lack of evidence. Another thing is the way my brain works. And I think there was a connection between him and the murders. I'm not saying he was the killer. Of course, I'm not. Analyzed. Okay. That is not a connection. No. But it's not a lack of connection. It's not a lack of connection. I agree with you. There's a lot of corruption here. Yeah, I agree. 100%. The day of the murders, Richard Allen went to visit his mom, and Keegan Klein lives in the same town as Richard Allen's mom. And yeah, Analyzed. My theory is that 3 people were involved. Me too. Same here. In the crime, and that others knew all about it. I do not think Richard Allen was involved. Tell me why you don't think so. It's interesting to me. If there was a connection those people would dog it up. No, 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 because we know that the firm of Brad Rossi was the lawyers representing Keegan Klein were the same lawyers representing Richard Allen. So there's a conflict of interest there, in my opinion, and that's suspicious. Anna, prosecution needs investigating. Anna? Ah, okay, you're talking about Anna. Okay, yeah, for sure. That's the point, Cryptex. Putting a man in prison with no evidence is not cool. Of course, it's not. I agree with you 100%. One thing is what I should, how can I say? I should vote during a process or during a trial, let's say. And another thing is what I think and what I believe. What I think and what I believe is that he's involved, but I don't have evidence, of course. So if I'm one of the jurors, I cannot say I'm not gonna be that. Uh, I'm not gonna have that lack of responsibility to say that he's guilty. Of course, I'm gonna say he's not guilty. I'm not gonna say he's innocent, but the state, they didn't prove their case at all. I agree with you, but I think based on other circumstantial evidence, I think he's involved and that he's likely bridge guy. But there was no proof. I agree with you. The case was not proven against Richard Allen. Mary, I mean, Cryptus, Richie Davis never mentioned Richard Allen. But why do you think that Richie Davis would mention Richard Allen? I don't know. He was in contact with Keegan. He was in contact with Ron Logan. I don't know what were those conversations between them. So I don't know. Ooh, Fish is here. How are you, Fishy? Hey, we have to play chess. You told me you are a chess player, so I'm waiting for your call to do some type of match in my channel. Cryptex against Fishy playing chess. In my opinion, you either but the prosecutor theory of the crime or you don't, most don't. I have to confess that I didn't understand your comment, Fishy, but it's my Spanish. Happy to have Fishy here. Hey guys, if someone wants to call, this is the link. And I said, everything against Richard Allen doesn't seem to fit. My first thought was he's built like a dwarf, and BG has normal proportions. The confessions feel patched together and coerced. I agree, I don't give any credibility to the confessions at all. I don't put any weight to the confessions. And yeah, it's very weird that given the fact that he's very short, there were no witnesses saying that we saw a dwarf. What's the name of this pygmeo? Give me 1 second here, guys. In English, pygmeo. In English, pygmeo is pygmy, pygmy. Okay, so in my opinion, Richard Allen was a pygmy. It's a pygmy. And none of the witnesses, they said that Richard Allen was a pygmy. In Spanish is pigmeo. Let's change the word. Enano. Enano is dwarf. Okay, dwarf. Dwarf. So none of the witnesses said that British guy was a dwarf. So I understand your point, and that's a great point. Great point. It's a very like it's the main characteristic of Richard Allen being a dwarf, being a pygmy. Sorry for my vocabulary here tonight, guys. Oh, so let me come back here. There is circumstantial evidence against all the people in that town. I agree with you, Mar. I agree 100%. But what do you think that law enforcement they were framing Richard Allen if he's not involved at all in this crime? It's like I never understood that. You can frame easily Keegan Klein, you can frame easily Ron Logan, you can frame easily Brad Holder, but the most difficult person to frame, Richard Allen, was the one who was framed. And again, I don't think, or we don't have evidence that he is the killer at all. But saying that he's innocent and that he's not involved, or that he shouldn't be the main suspect or one of the suspects of this crime, that's a separate thing here, in my opinion. Anna, prosecution theory, unspent round equals Richard Allen, equals Bridge Guy, equals abductor killer. A round had to be fired, spent to get similar results. And I'm not sure we see an abduction in the 43-second video. I have to agree with you 100%. Great point, Anna. Mar, there is something strange about the town Delphi. Strange? That's a very nice word. Delphi is Twin Peaks. Really, Delphi is Twin Peaks. The weirdest town ever in America. Try to look for the most horrific horror movie in internet, and it's not even close to Delphi. Those characters, the people there, the YouTubers from Delphi, they're so creepy. Just the YouTubers, they're creepy. Then you have to go to Brad Weber, creepy. The town itself is creepy. I know I'm being disrespectful, but it is what it is. It's a creepy town. It's strange. It's just unreal. It's Twin Peaks. Really, for me, when we see Delphi, it's like that TV show, Twin Peaks. Weird people, crazy YouTubers. You have Grino. You have. I'm not gonna mention the other YouTubers, but the YouTubers from Delphi are freaking creepy, weird. Doug Carter is weird. Doug Carter is a perfect character of Twin Peaks, for real. Put Doug Carter in Twin Peaks, it's the perfect character. The same with Liggett and Lisenby, and it's a crazy town. It's insane. Sunflower. I believe Richard Allen is innocent and is grossly railroaded. I agree that he was railroaded, But I don't think that being railroaded means innocent. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my opinion. But one thing is different to other thing. I believe that the town know more than, of course, that town, 3,000 people is nothing. It's nothing. So you have Delphi. Delphi is 3,000 people. The half of the population is 1,500 men. The other half is women. So just cut the town in 50-50, you know? So you have 1,500 men. Remove the children. Remove the all the people. You're gonna have like maybe 200 men able to commit the crime, and they were not able to solve the crime in that town. Come on. And of course everybody knows what was happening there. Of course. Again, that town is Twin Peaks. Downtown is Twin Peaks. It's fishy, it's weird, it's crazy. And I don't believe that no one knew what was happening there, for sure. Analyset, there was always been a skeleton story in rumors. 3 people did it, several knew, and they've gossiped from time to time. Confessions. Rizzy Davis knew about the box cutter. Yeah, again, Rizzy Davis having that information in 2017 from Ron Logan, this is crazy, of course. Okay, in my opinion, it's because Rick can't give up anyone else because he's not connected. Keegan Klein probably could. All of them could. Annali said, dwarfism has to do with extra short legs plus normal size torso. Pygmy or midget little person, much shorter, smaller than most of other people. So it's okay. What's the proper term to refer to Richard Allen? Is a dwarf? Is a pygmy? Is a midget? Anyways, regardless of the proper term, it's the same thing. It's a very, very short person, right? And none of the witnesses, I think one of them, she used the term short, but short is not enough, you know. You know, if you were in presence of Richard Allen, that's the first thing you're gonna say. This guy was a short guy, a very short guy, a pygmy, a dwarf, and they didn't describe Richard Allen in that terms, you know. Do you think Delphi and Flora are connected? Potentially, yes. And I think I'm gonna explore that connection in the future. I have to accept that I'm not an expert in Flora, but listening to other creators like Mio Zedong, I would like to have her here in my channel to discuss about Flora. Yeah, it seems that there is a potential connection between Flora and Delphi. Yeah, I agree. Creepy as fuck, of course. Mary, I like the analysis script text Twin Peaks. It's Twin Peaks, come on. Yeah, Doc Carter is the creepiest, for real. I agree with you. In that town. But when we think about Indiana State Police, he's the creepiest in the sense that he's really weird, like he's creepy, as you say. But the other one, that Jerry Holman, is the dangerous one. It's creepy in another way, you know. But all of them are just Twin Peaks. Uh, Anna, I have weird emotions about this case. I cannot explain. Other terrible cases. My emotions and morals are where they should be. Not so for Delphi. I don't understand, but so it is. Yeah, it's because this case is just not solved. We don't have enough information. We don't have any resolution. And people pushing law enforcement narrative, saying that Richard Allen is the only actor and the killer, and that there was no other people involved in the crime, is just that. It's hard to buy that. It's hard to believe. Anyways, sunflower. So cryptex. I guess sleeping in a hotel in that town for one night is a no. No, 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 no. Of course, alone, no. It's, it's a no for sure. It's just it's creepy again. Half Odinite, half satanic, all law enforcement related. J Ray, how are you, J Ray? Happy to have you here. If you have a strong case against someone, you shouldn't need to railroad them. Exactly. And again, uh, when you have the case of, let's say, the Idaho case, in that case, law enforcement, they were really solid in the guilt of Brian Koberger. And there was nothing fishy or nothing, how can we say? There was no lack of transparency in that case. We had audio material. The process was, how can we say? We had cameras during the process. We had audio. We can see now that when law enforcement went to the house or to that condo, let's say, we have the body camera of the officers going there. So everything was just crystal, you know. They didn't have any fear to lose their case. They were solid about the guilt of Brian Koberger, and it's not the same here in Delphi. Why? We know why. Because there's something else that we don't know yet. Annalise, even if we think Richard Allen is not guilty, we have to accept the jury's verdict and work from that. We can believe anything, but without proof, we accomplish nothing. Stay alert and question everything. Well, we don't have to accept. We don't have to accept because we know that the jurors, they didn't have the whole evidence in front of them. The whole situation about Keegan Klein was not presented to the jurors. The whole situation about Ron Logan was not presented to the jurors. So you don't have to accept. I don't accept that outcome. I don't accept it. At the beginning, I was stupid enough to say I accept the outcome of the process, but over time, why do I have to accept that? The jurors, they didn't listen anything about Keegan Klein, who is, in my opinion, the mastermind of this crime. They didn't hear anything about Ron Logan. They didn't think any. They didn't listen anything about Brad Holder. So why do you have to accept? Why do we have to accept? We don't have to accept. Have no. We don't have. You can accept or you cannot, but it's not an obligation to accept that outcome at all, in my opinion. Nothing seems right. Yeah. Dropbox, of course. Twin Peaks, that's right. By where I live. It's a different one though. Google it. Yeah. He's small, okay. Don't primordial dwarfs have normalish proportions? Okay, and I said the state didn't have a strong case against Richard Allen. I agree. Nick described a melted snowman to prospective jurors. That's what he presented. And he won with it. But he won because the jurors, they didn't have the whole story here. So that's the thing. J. Ray, I think the term is a short little dude. Okay. He's the same height as me. Okay. Thank you for that information. I didn't know. The way you say it makes it sound like something I want. Railroaded. Analyzed. To me, Richard Allen seemed to have noticeable short legs, like a dwarf. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, Christy Barrow is here. How are you, Christy? Glad you're here. J. Ray, why do you mean morals? I know what morals are. I don't understand what you mean given the context. Okay, let me scroll down here, guys. Kevin, how are you, Kevin? Hello to all you grifters. I'm a grifter. So, Kevin, please give me some super chat or some super sticker because I need that to be a grifter. Annalise said, I question some things about Delphi, about victims and their associates. That's a great point. We are not allowed to ask about those associations. I agree with you. And yeah, take it back, Cryptex. I will. She Books, how are you? How are you, She Books? Nice to have you here. Nice to have you here. Kevin, still trying to push the narrative that a guilty man got framed. Kevin Carmichael. Okay, Kevin, what's your idea about this? You can call and we can discuss about your theory. I'm not saying he's innocent, but I'm not saying he's the only one. Mar, a bunch of lies were used to arrest Rick Allen. I agree with you. You have a brain. Yeah, where is Simdal? Come on, I missed him for sure. She Books, I cannot imagine being so fucking dense. You think that this case is on the up and up. Yeah, Simdal is kind of lost those days. We miss him. Something about the case makes me feel unreasonable angry. Some things feel false and I don't know why. Of course. And what about people pushing the narrative of law enforcement, working with law enforcement to push some insane ideas, you know, or trying to, you know, there are, how can I say this? Some YouTubers are very intelligent, very smart, and they have a, how can I say this? They are very opinionated. They have the power to convince people. And if you are weak, you're going to be convinced by those YouTubers. And they say things that are not factual. like the YouTuber that he deleted everything after Nick McLelland ordered him to delete everything. And we know who are we talking about here. And this guy, he made a whole video about the clients and why, according to him, the clients are not connected to the crime. And there's a lot of false information in that video. It makes me mad. I'm gonna do a video about that. And that guy, the one who called me a poor guy, is telling lies on his channel, manipulating people. One of the things he said, according to law enforcement, the cell phones of the clients they were being under operation the day of the murders, and that behavior or the pattern of the operation of the cell phones was consistent with the previous days of the murders. Like, how do you know that? This is just fucking crazy. It's a lie. It's not in a transcript. It's not in. It's just insane. I'm gonna dissect that video he made, trying to put the clients out of the scope of the crime, because it's just how can we say, dirty. It's a dirty way to work in this community, for real. That guy is dangerous. That guy is working with law enforcement, and for some reason, that guy, he doesn't want the clients to be connected to the crime, because it's the same thing law enforcement wants. He said that Keegan Klein, he didn't drive. And in the transcripts, Keegan Klein himself, he said that he was driving an old 98 American, I don't even remember the name of the car, but he said what was the model of the car he was driving on 2017 during the time of the murders. So it's just sad to have those people lying to try to disconnect the clients from the crime, because they know they have the power of the influence. You know what I mean? They have the power to put ideas in the mind of his followers. That guy is just dangerous, for real. Again, sorry for that. I was just mad about that. Continuing here with this, only pedo supporters support Richard Allen. Well, we have a troll here, so guys, if you can kick this troll out, I'm gonna be happy about that. J. Ray, Annalise, if it's any comfort to you, I think that's normal considering the circumstances. Cryptis is so delayed. Sorry for that. I'm so delayed. I know. No, I know. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, the same. What if we are smart but also weak? What do you mean, J. Rice? Interesting. I like your comment. What if we are smart but also weak? What do you mean? It's an interesting comment. I'm trying to think about that. We are smart but weak. Interesting. Let me continue here. Oh, I'm gonna keep this comment here in the chat, guys. All eyes. Happy to have you here. I think you are very kind. That's not hard enough, you know, to describe his actions. Let's say it's very dangerous. Mark, Cryptex, he is not the only one. I know, but he is the most dangerous one. It's the most dangerous one. He's the most dangerous one. He was the one working directly with law enforcement. The other ones, we don't care about. The other ones are pawns. This guy was really dangerous, and he's a vengative person. You know, when I'm not gonna go there, but maybe for another show. Anything to get away from that Dropbox. Wild. Okay, guys, I have a cold from the nature. I have to go to the toilet, so I'm gonna play a video, and I'm gonna come back in a couple of seconds because I really have to pee. Sorry for that. I know that that was not a very romantic information for you, but I have to go to the toilet. So give me 1 second. I am gonna play a video and coming back really soon. Sorry for the interruption. I'm back. I know. This is that was not very romantic, but it is what it is. Having trouble. Okay, I think I got it now. No, not yet. Shit, it's StreamYard. Okay, I got it. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. Let me go. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm here. Goddess, I don't know what's that emoji. I'm on ecstasy. It's fine. Just say it, railroaded again, and that's all the romance I need for the night. What do you mean? Come on, railroaded. So, guys, there are a couple of trolls. So, moderators, be free to kick the trolls out. See you never. Mar, I wish someone could show how Rick could possibly be involved. I never seen one thing. Get fucked. All eyes. Super weird, man. She books. Imagine being that triggered because you have to question your own intelligence. Yeah. Why are people who think the unified command dipshits got the right guy still here? That's a great point. That's a great comment. This investigation was just crap. So how can you trust the outcome? I agree with you. That's a great point. I'm not in disagreement with your opinion or lies. These fools never stop. They're never gonna stop, for sure. She books. I don't go around crying about these people being so fucking stupid. I worry about future generations. My neighbors are probably in like, what the fuck? This is quite the light. Showed you. Okay. Scrolling down. So, guys, just to inform you that in the next days I'm gonna do a live with Oksana, maybe next Saturday. So this is gonna happen next Saturday. She's a very bright person. I really loved her, the way her brain works. So we're gonna have Oksana here soon. We're gonna have Andy Kopsa also. I want to have Mr. Steve. I love Mr. Steve. So working on that for the next days, guys. Coming, scrolling down. Jared. Nobody who says Rick is innocent has a reason why they think he is innocent. I think they have some reasons, but I understand your point. I think that at least he should be considered as a main suspect, in my opinion. Or maybe not as a main suspect, but as one of the suspects. That's clear for me. But again, I don't think law enforcement they prove their case. They didn't have enough evidence. They lied during the process. Uh, there's a lot of dirty and fishy and uh, smelly things here, smelly elements, and that's why I respect and I understand people saying or thinking or believing that Richard Allen is innocent. But in the same at the same time, I think it's crazy to say that he's just innocent. At the least, he could be considered as a suspect for sure. Anyways, she books. He has alibi witnesses that place him where he says he was leaving at 1:30 p.m. You, USA libertarian, never a barbarian. Fact checked false. Me too. I love Oksana, and I have some type of, I don't know how can I say, sympathy or connection, or because she's an immigrant in America. I'm an immigrant in Canada, and I know that it's hard to make things happen here. So watching someone that bright, because she's bright, and we disagree in our, we don't agree necessarily in our ideas, but I respect Oksana so much. She's just very bright, very intelligent. Mad respect for Oksana. Yeah, I agree with you, Mar. She's awesome. So we're gonna have Oksana soon here. How about because, in my opinion, they didn't prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt? I agree, 100%, of course. Yeah, and the cop is great. USA Libertarian, lying about the bullet being a match, thus removing the only evidence connecting Allen to the crime scene. Yeah, that's bad. That's just sad, let's say. American, is that you? How about there's clear cell data that Libby's phone picked up Wi-Fi connection at 4:30? Yeah, the whole situation about that cell phone is crazy, huh? I I don't think the defense they challenged the whole cell phone situation like hard enough during the process. And I think that Stacy Eldridge, what's the name of the expert from the defense? She's really good, but I don't think she was used. I don't know, hard enough to challenge the state angle regarding the cell phone situation. I don't know. I agree with you. The whole cell phone situation is just crazy, and I don't buy that the sudden resurrection of the cell phone was related to moisture being released from the phone. It's just insane, and everybody here is an expert in cell phones. Fixolf is an expert in cell phones. He's an expert in crime scenes. He's an expert in discarding the clients from the crime. He's an expert of being an expert. So yeah, and not only him, everyone here in this community. Jared, Jared. USA Libertarian. Allen might be the guy because he's a human male that was within a quarter mile of the crime scene sometime that day. That's the evidence. Yeah, everything is circumstantial. The only thing I don't can I cannot how can I say this? It's just It's insane that Keegan Klein confessed and they arrested Richard Allen the next day. I'm exaggerating, but something like that. So it's just, to me, there's a connection there. He gave the name. He gave the name. Keegan Klein, he gave the name. He gave Richard Allen's name for some reason. It was not how can I say, a random discovery or the lost tip narrative. My dog is here. Come here. Say hello to the guys. Come on. She wants me to go to sleep with her. So the lost tip narrative, the Cathy Shank stuff is not a clerical error. Is to me, Richard Allen's name was something that was provided by Keegan Klein. Sorry, guys, that's my opinion. That's the way I connect the dots. I may be wrong, as you say, but I'm not here to please you guys. I'm here to explain my theories and to try to, how can I say, to discuss with you. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, and I'm not saying you are wrong. But today, that's how I feel. Anyways, J. Ray, that biohazard sign right there. Cool. Libby's phone picked up Wi-Fi connection at 4:30 on the 14th. No, I agree with you. The whole cell phone situation is something to understand better. No criminal history, no evidence on his devices. Yeah, and what about the Keegan Klein's devices? Huh? What about Keegan Klein deleting information from one of his cell phones? What about that? She confirmed she knew more data that would have shown that phone was used after supposed time of death. Yeah. Stacy All but confirmed there was no water damage in the cell data. Yeah, there was no water damage. And this is another fairy tale here in this process. Of course, there was no water damage at all. This is a great question, Anthony. I have to give you 1 point, and I want to know why. Was it because Ron Logan was connected to someone with power in that community? I don't know, but I agree with you. It's an easy person to frame, Ron Logan. It's an easy person to frame. I don't know. It's because Ron Logan was the guy that the FBI wanted to be the guy. And there was like a friction between ISP and the FBI, ego between those entities, between those agencies. And ISP, they didn't want the FBI to be right. I don't know. This is a good point. Great point. But again, Ron Logan's phone was pinging at 2:09 near to the crime scene. So like right at the time of the murders. Keegan Klein, this is my brain. Ron Logan was redecorating the bathroom right after the commission of or right after the date of the events. It's just very weird. He was lying about his alibi, so yeah. I don't know. I don't understand. He was a libertarian because Rick admitted to being on the trails. An expert in fig Newtons, exactly. He's the smartest person in this community. Mar, I don't believe they really wanted the case solved. They didn't test things. That's true. And did a shitty job investigating. Then they railroaded Rick. USA. They tried to frame Logan. They tried to frame Keegan. Allen is the one mentally fragile enough that it worked on him. All eyes. If Richard Allen gave Keegan Klein's name, we'd have learned that. Why? Why do you think we have learned that? Holman really wanted Richard Allen to be the nexus placing the Kleins at the scene, but he wasn't. That's the thing I don't understand with you guys. Sometimes you believe that everything that law enforcement is telling us is a lie. But sometimes when law enforcement is telling us something that is not aligned with your theory, so this is not a lie. So why do you think that Jerry Holman is not lying about the Keegan Klein's angle? Jerry Holman is the same type of liar as Keegan Klein. They're the same dirty, dirty piece of shits. Jerry Holman and Keegan Klein. And to me, all the dots connect to the Kleins here. So when Jerry Holman goes to the news saying that, hey, I cannot today, I cannot talk today about the Wabash River search. Sorry for that. Why? Why is that? Why cannot you talk about the Wabash River search today? If Richard Allen is already convicted, if Richard Allen is already behind bars for 130 years, but you cannot talk about the Wabash River. Really? Come on. And just because Jerry Holman is saying that there's no nexus between Keegan Klein and the crime, so we have to believe that. So now we have to believe Jerry Holman. We say that Jerry Holman is a liar, but when he talks about Keegan Klein, we have to believe in his words. And this is the angle that doesn't make sense at all in this crime. And we have to believe in Jerry Holman. During the interrogation of David Vido, the trooper David Vido, he said that Keegan Klein was communicating, or Anthony Schultz was communicating with Libby the same day of the murders, the same day. There was like how can we say, a story here. Everyone was saying that Keegan Klein or Anthony Schultz, he was communicating with Libby the days before the murders, but not the day of the murders. And David Vido, under oath, he said that he was Anthony Schultz was communicating with Libby the day of the murders. And we know that Keegan Klein was communicating, was looking for the address of the Marathon gas station the day of the murders. And we know that Keegan Klein confessed about the crime. But we have to believe in the words of Jerry Holman when he says that Keegan Klein is not connected. So is Jerry Holman a liar, or is Jerry Holman an angel? Or is just an angel when he's talking about Keegan Klein? And he's a piece of shit when he's talking about anything else. That's what I don't understand. Sorry. I really become passionate when when people underestimate the Kleins, because it doesn't make sense. Come on, guys, it's clear, it's crystal. Anyways, sorry for that. Sometimes I have to rant. And I love you guys, all of you, and all eyes, you know. Ron Logan could possibly give up others. Okay. If Kathy Shank was not running around defending Ron Logan, law enforcement law enforcement might have gone all in on him. Hmm. Shay, I think that is exactly why none of the others were pursued. They were all in on it. Yeah, that's a great point. Elvis admitted to being on the trails, but that was not a confession. That was like a conversation with law enforcement, but that was not an actual confession, let's say. And when he said that, what what was the exact wording of that confession? Let's say when he said, "If I can explain why my spit was on the girls," something like that. I don't understand that. What would be an explanation for that? If law enforcement they find DNA from his spit, what would be an explanation? So I don't understand that. It's crazy. I'm thinking about at the same time I'm talking, guys, because he said, if I can, I forgot the exact wording, but anyways, sorry guys, I'm a little bit lost here. But how can you explain that? How can you explain that the speed of the that your speed is on the bodies of the girls if you were not spitting on them? So what does it mean? That someone took your saliva, your spit, and then they placed the spit on the girls? I don't know. I don't know if I understand. I can make you understand my point here, but it's just I don't know. I don't know, guys. Sorry for that. I was very random in the last minute here. Sorry for that. J. Ray, because Ron Logan was a much more rough around the edges guy. He's been to prison, probably not afraid to throw a punch. Richard Allen is more of a pushover type dude. Okay. In other words, you agree with USA Libertarian. Jerry Holman is worse because he has authority. Yeah, I agree with you. Why do you think law enforcement would still be holding that information back? In my opinion, it's because there's a Dropbox in the middle of this situation, and someone with power is connected to the crimes. Someone close to law enforcement, someone with power in that town, and that's why it's not in favor of law enforcement to have that or to give us that information or to put that information on the table. And that's why I believe that Richard Allen and that Keegan Klein, he made a negotiation with law enforcement. To me, a negotiation was on the table, and that was the perfect deal for Keegan Klein. He got 42 years. That's nothing, and he's gonna serve maybe 15 years. He's gonna have a reduction in that sentence. This is nothing. When you think about Travis Lee Evans, he got 152 years because he was raping the daughter of his girlfriend. 152 years. Travis Lee Evans, who is a relative of the mayor of Delphi, Sean Evans. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't kill anyone. I know, of course, raping an underage girl is horrible, and I, I love that he's serving 152 years behind bars. But what I'm saying is, compare that with the sentence that was given to Richard Allen, 132 years for abduction and for murder, for killing two girls. How can you understand that? And then compare that sentence to the sentence that was given to Keegan Klein, 42 years, and I believe he's gonna serve maybe 20. Is the perfect give, the perfect deal for Keegan Klein. It's nothing. Of course, if I'm Keegan Klein, hey, this was the guy that was with me committing the crimes. I'm gonna give you the name. What are you gonna give to me? 42 years, perfect. Thank you so much for that. It's the perfect deal. The Keegan Klein's having a party after giving that negotiation. Okay. Nobody gives a fuck what Keegan Klein says. Holman can put people in jail. You know who gave a fuck about what Keegan Klein says? Law enforcement. Keegan Klein confessed, and the same day of his confession, they went to search the Wabash River. So they gave a fuck. They gave a fuck about what Keegan Klein said. They spent $1 million and they spent 6 weeks doing that search. So they trusted Keegan Klein, and they didn't trust Keegan Klein just because they were naive. It's because they put a polygraph and they were able to make the difference when Keegan Klein was lying and when Keegan Klein was not lying. And they knew that some information that Keegan Klein was providing was right. So that's why they went to search the Wabash River. So Vito lies too. Richard Allen said he didn't know them. Yeah, Vito lies. I know. Richard Allen never mentioned their names in any of the months of confessions. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't believe Jerry Holman. Who can believe in Jerry Holman? Of course. Holman was desperate for Richard Allen to be the Nexus. I agree. And he was desperate for Keegan Klein to not to be the Nexus. That's the thing. Holman was desperate for Keegan Klein to not to be the Nexus. And we have to accept that, right? That's my point. That's my point. Why? And why was the same lawyer, the same attorney defending Richard Allen being part of the same firm defending Keegan Klein? There's a conflict of interest there, or not? In my opinion, yes. Okay. How many accounts do you have? Yeah. All eyes. Jerry and Vito also said Richard Allen was Googling kidnappings and crazy things that turn out to be BuzzFeed listicles about Netflix series. Yeah, that's just crap. I agree with you. I agree. I agree with you in that sense. They were desperate to connect Richard Allen to the crime. We are in the same line. Oh, the line where we are not aligned, let's say, is when you think that when Jerry Holman says that there's no connection between Keegan and the crime, so you take that for granted. When everything points to Keegan Klein being connected, and then you said, "Oh, Jerry Holman is saying that he was not connected, so he's not connected," and I don't buy that. I don't buy that because everything points to Keegan Klein being the one behind the crime. So just because Jerry Holman is saying that he's not, we have to believe in that, and we have to ignore the rest of the elements pointing to Keegan being the one behind the crimes. I don't buy it at all. Of course, Jerry Holman is a liar, piece of shit. Of course. I don't know. But my theory is that bringing in Klein, a non-liar, makes it harder rather than easier to convict Allen. Great point. Great point. Awesome point, USA Libertarian. Your theory is awesome. I don't have anything to say about that. It's a perfect comment tonight. Of course. Great comment. And this is aligned with my theory, which may be a wrong theory, but great point, of course. Okay, J-Ray. I have to say, I hate to say it, but I think maybe they cannot go down that road because Anthony Schultz was actually communicated with Kelsey German, possibly Kelsey acting as Liberty German. That's even worse. That's even worse, you know? That's like a point for Keegan Klein being involved, right? Of course he was connected. It's not he could be connected, he was connected. Of course he's a piece of shit. Of course. Holman is a piece of shit. We know that. Hey, can someone block Jared? Come on. Who can block this guy? Okay, okay. Bye-bye. Olais was not trying to sass you, Cryptes. I go back and forth with myself. No. I love you for real. I just become passionate with this subject. No. Don't take it personally. I want to challenge the opinions of my viewers, and I want my viewers challenging my opinions. That I think that's the way. No. I love the way you think, of course, and you can challenge my ideas. I may be wrong, of course. USA Libertarian. They lost so much evidence that trying to connect Klein to the murder complicates the case. Yeah. Way easier just to just, yeah, of course, it's a great comment. USA Libertarian, you got the point. You got the point. You got the point. It's the way you think is, you got it. You got it. If you find my spit on the girls but I can't explain it exactly. Yeah, that's the word that's the sentence I was looking for. How can you explain it? I don't know. I want to see your opinions, guys. How can you explain that? I don't know. What's the explanation he was trying to get? I don't understand. Rafael, ¿crees que BG le envió un dibujo al reportero de Lafayette? Jared, oh my God, trolls here tonight. Shay, you have to keep in mind that Elvis is mentally slow. He probably didn't even think of the implication of saying it, but he knew he better be able to explain it if discovered. Great point. Thank you, Shay. Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. Lino, you look like changing from Stray Kids. USA Libertarian, I understand there is no good explanation for why your speed would be on a... Exactly. There's no good explanation at all. The only good explanation is that someone took your speed and they planted the spit on the girl. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, that sentence. I agree. J. Ray, what did they find in the river? Clothes? No. Why are you asking that? Suspicious. So how can you think he's involved? You know why. Evans is a judge now. not the mayor anymore. Yeah, I know. USA Libertarian. They thought Keegan was connected when they chose to spend $1 million, man hours, and risk of injury searching the river. Of course. Hey, USA Libertarian, can you please drive the show tonight? Because your your threat is better than mine. Exactly. Great point. Of course, they're not gonna spend $1 million. They are not gonna spend 6 week 6 weeks of search resources if they didn't think that Keegan was connected. And it's not that just they didn't think, they knew. Of course, they knew it. Why was Keegan Klein searching the Marathon gas station? Exactly why. He was there. He was in Delphi the day of the murders. He was looking for the Marathon gas station. He was supposed to meet Libby, but she didn't show up. And he confessed. So he was there. It's clear. It's crystal. It's clear. It's just clear. He was there. And Vito said that he was communicating with Libby the day of the murder. So it's impossible that he was not there. He was there. I wonder if anything connected to Libby was found in the Dropbox files. Yeah, great point. I had to take a phone call. Should have put Kathy on the stand so she could tell the jury that that's not my husband on that video. Yeah, I don't know about that. It was the strategy of the defense. All lies. Jerry and Vito were convinced the clients were connected. Okay, that's the story they're selling now. They wanted the clients to be the guy. That's why they wanted Richard Allen to know them, because law enforcement had nothing else to connect their number one person of interest to the crime. I disagree 100%. Uh, I think they knew the Klein was involved. The Keegan Klein was involved. They found something, and there's a Dropbox in the whole situation connecting, in putting some dirt in law enforcement. That's why Keegan Klein made a negotiation with law enforcement, in my opinion. And again, they're not gonna search the Wabash River if they didn't know enough information, solid information about Keegan Klein being connected to the crime. I disagree with that comment, but anyway, I respect it. Involved with the Anthony shots and CSAM, not necessarily involved in the girls' murders. I agree. I don't know what was the extent of his involvement. I don't know. Where number? What do you mean, where number? Christy Barros talking about Dobermans. Annalise, say what, son? I have thought a number of kids around the girls' ages were in the Dropbox. Thus, the silence and the appearance of cover up. Okay. All eyes. Grinus, my POI. He confessed so many times and he knew about the phone. Some of his FAM, what is FAM? Even familiars, even thought he was involved. The confessions, that phone, bloody James. I have to agree with you. This is a very fishy character in this crime. Dangerous also. He's a manipulator. He's a liar. I don't know. Grino creating the whole channel after the murders. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but yeah, it's very suspicious. I agree with you. Is I don't want to go there tonight, but in my mind, I agree that Grino could be someone involved in the crime easily. Oh my god! You think that Grino killed Kat? No, no, no. Let me go down here. There was the picture on Brad Holder Facebook. Two girls posing as dead. Yeah, that picture is just crazy. Dawn before Delphi crime. Was this a scenario these groups were playing with? Yeah. Elvis was married with kids, works on engines, doesn't skilled labor. He's undereducated, not mentally slow. He has a history of violence against children too. I didn't know that. He has a history of violence against children, really? All right. Interesting information. Grino is not smart enough to pull that off. BG is much smarter. I don't think you have to be that smart. You know why? Because law enforcement they are very stupid. So you don't have to be a genius to outsmart law enforcement. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, Grino is a good liar, it's a manipulator. And given the fact that law enforcement they are just incompetent, stupid, and corrupt, why not? I think it's not crazy, anyways. Analyzed. Make a list of why Keegan Klein could be involved. Contact with Libby that morning. He said it was a mass mailing, too many girls. And what about the money account connection to Libby? Yeah, exactly. That's another main element here. So Anthony Schultz, Keegan Klein, he was sending money to Libby via the Cash App application. Remember, we have the money, the Anthony Schultz money account going to Libby. I agree with you 100%. Another main element in the connection of Keegan Klein to the crimes. Why was Keegan sending money to Libby? Why? What was the nature of that transaction? You tell me. I don't understand that for real. Or maybe I understand, but why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about it? We know that Keegan Klein he was obtaining addresses of his victims, and we don't talk about it. Everybody is thinking about Keegan being the fat guy behind the computer. Behind the computer, he was obtaining addresses of the victims. Why? And he said during the interview with Vido, and even during the interview with the murder sheet, that he was not intending to meet people. He was not intending to meet people, really. We have Kyla saying that in the Foster Park, he was supposed to meet her there, but he was pissed because she was with her girlfriend that day. And what did he say? He said, I could kidnap you, I could cut your throat to watch you bleed out. And this is not a history of violence, right? And this is not an intent to meet people. Uh, so Keegan Klein was, come on, guys, obtaining addresses, intending to meet people out there, uh, making threats, obsession with throats. sending money to one of his victims, intending to meet Libby the day of the murders, looking for the Marathon gas station the day of the murders, communicating with Libby the day of the murder, as Vito said during the testimony, confessing to the crime again. Say Watson, it could be 196 for all I know, but that doesn't mean he thinks fast or illogically. Holman and Vito were not allowed to keep pursuing Keegan Klein after the expensive river search turned up nothing. How do you know that the search didn't provide anything? How do we know that? Just because Holman said that we didn't find anything? So again, we have to believe Holman here. When do we have to believe Holman, and when don't we have to believe in him? So they stopped the search. They arrested Richard Allen, and we have to believe that they didn't find anything. Just because Jerry Holman, the how can we say, the person who is not a liar at all, he said that they didn't find anything. Let's say that they didn't find anything. Let's say that, just for the sake of the discussion. They didn't have to find anything to connect Allen to Keegan Klein. The only thing they needed was a name. That's it. So Keegan Klein is confessing at the Grissom Air Force Base or at the cemetery, because he was brought to the cemetery. He gives the name to law enforcement. Okay, the guy that committed the crime with me and my father was Richard Allen. Let's say they didn't find a knife, they didn't find a cell phone, they had a name, Richard Allen. Okay, let's see in our database if there's someone called Richard Allen. Oh shit, Richard Allen, he was the guy we interviewed the day after the murders. So they got the name. They don't need anything else. The only thing they need is the name. That's it. They don't need a knife. They don't need a cell phone in that river. They don't need evidence. The only thing they needed was a name, because the name was already in their database. You know what I mean? So, Keegan Klein is telling me that Richard Allen is connected. Who is Richard Allen? Okay, let's go to our record. Yeah, he's telling the truth. There's a Richard Allen here. So they don't need to find anything in the river. USA Libertarian. If what we think we know about Klein is true, it is an insane coincidence if he's not involved. I just have to leave that possibility that insane coincidences do happen sometimes. Insane coincidences, or like one insane coincidence, two insane coincidence, three insane coincidences, but 14 insane coincidences around the same guy, it's just unlikely. It's unlikely. It's not. Common sense tells you that it's unlikely. They wouldn't fucking care what that guy's wife says. Grino asking about Anthony Shots at a press conference is odd. What is he so interested? Yeah, he's weird. He's weird. I agree. He may be involved. Of course, a wife would defend him. Why should we believe Video's report saying Keegan Klein Googled the gas station, considering he lied about Richard Allen searches? I think the information that was found in that cell phone is available. So he's not gonna say that he Googled the Marathon gas station if that's not something he can prove. Uh, I don't think that would be a lie, because it's like a very specific information, saying that he was looking for the Marathon gas station is because they had that information on that phone. You know what I mean? So it's something that if he's talking about that, it's because he can give the evidence about it. So to me, the Marathon gas station, in my opinion, is a fact. It's not something that you would lie about it. It's a very specific information. So I I don't think it was a lie. Analyset, Keegan Klein's money account allegedly connected to Libby may be at the bottom of what happened appears to be a cover-up. What did this connection mean? Any transaction? Did he pay her? She pay him? Yeah. Well, she didn't pay him because the money was going to Libby's. So Libby was the one receiving the money, not Keegan. Holman and Vito were convinced the Kleins were involved, but they just couldn't find the evidence. They were desperate to find that evidence. How do you know that they couldn't find the evidence? That's my point. How do you know that they couldn't find the evidence? I don't understand. To me, they found the evidence, but they cannot tell us that they found it, because they are covering for someone with power in that community, and maybe covering for someone close to law enforcement, maybe Sean Evans. V. People involved in CSAM don't stop, ever. You would have found it on all of Richard Allen's devices if he was into that. Yet, nothing like that on anything. No ties to Keegan Klein, no trace of CSAM, there's no connection. That's a good point. But I don't know if the involvement of Richard Allen was related to CSAM. That's my point. I'm not saying that Richard Allen is a pervert that was into CSAM, and that I'm not saying that. I think he was involved somehow. Maybe he was paid to, I don't know, to drive or to address the girls to some area, or he was paid to drive some car, or he was paid to give some information about the location of people about the area, just to say, okay, the area is cleared, or to clean the crime scene. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm not saying he was into CSAM, Richard Allen. Maybe he wasn't. And I agree with you. There's no history of CSAM digital connection there. I never said that Richard Allen is a pervert and he was into CSAM. I don't know. I believe he was involved, but I don't know what's the nature of that involvement at all. It's like, let's say, when people are going to rob a bank, they need people for some purposes, to drive the car, to give some information via telephone. Okay, the police officer is not here anymore. You can come. We can enter. Some communication stuff. I don't know. Anyways, my wild theory is that the girls were planning to meet Klein, Anthony Schultz, under the bridge to take pictures. Then it went bad or was intended to be a snuff film. For sure, they went there to meet Keegan Klein. Of course, that was it's the whole point of this. Then what happened after that? Great, great question. Was a rumor in the beginning that Libby planned to meet with police a couple days after the crime. L, who is L? No details at first, then lots of talk about her dad's past drug issues. Was she going to report Keegan Klein? Maybe. I believe there was a misunderstanding about money being sent to Libby by Keegan Klein. Reading the transcript, oh, come on, that's another piece of misinformation. It's not about pictures at all. It was about money, and in a separate case of Keegan Klein, there's a victim of Keegan Klein testifying, giving her testimony that Keegan Klein was sending money to her, $10 to buy Victoria's Secret stuff, clothes and shoes, and he was asking her for the address to send to provide those presents to her house. So it's not about pictures. It's not about photos of cash. Stop doing that because this is not helping this case for real. He was sending money to his victims, cash via the Cash App application. It's not about photos or about pictures of cash. This is a fix solves stuff. That's the way uh, some creators manipulate the information here in this case, and that's really, and it's not about UV, but I think that you are being misled by those creators. It was money. It was not pictures of cash or pictures of money. It was actual money, actual cash being sent by Keegan Klein, by Anthony Schultz to Libby and to the other victims. That's a fact. Analyzed. I want to believe that the alleged fight L had with friends over Keegan Klein was that L. So, okay. Say what, son? Yeah, I agree with you. Any timeline experts? Was there only one red jeep seen that day? If so, was it just a single man walking a dog? Good point. Okay, guys, I'm gonna skip a couple of comments here. Sorry for that. Mar, Anthony, those ladies tried to tell me that in a Discord. Uh, are you listening to what I'm talking tonight, Anthony? For real? I don't understand your comment. So if my accent is bad enough for you, come on. What's that type of comment here for real? Exactly. I don't know what he's talking about. USA libertarian. I don't know. Oh, of course, it raises more questions. Of course, because she was receiving money. That's the point, and no one is talking about that. That's what I don't understand. Why no one is talking about that? Why was Keegan Klein sending money to Libby, and everyone is ignoring that point? That's the whole point here. Of course, it raises more questions. Of course, that's the point. Scrolling down, sorry guys, there's a lot of comments here and I'm not up to date to the comments. Great point. Great question, Anthony. Why do you think so? Ah, it's not suspicious. It's not. Of course, it's very suspicious. Why do you think? I'm gonna let you answer to that question to yourself. Hmm. Great point, USA Libertarian. Great point, as usual. The transcript is said, we have the money, the Anthony Shots money account going to Libby's. It's written in my brain. That's the exact sentence. We have the money, the Anthony Shots money account going to Libby's. And when you compared that information to the other process where one of the victims of Keegan Klein was saying that he was sending her money to buy Victoria's Secret stuff, shoes and clothes, and that he was asking for her address, you can make the connection easily. So it was not about pictures. They were holding Richard Allen's car hostage. He thought he could wrap up whatever dumb shit Jerry was doing and then get his car back. Mystery solved. Yeah, what about the Reese Davis letters? What about that? He sent a couple of letters to Nick McLeland, and we just don't know anything about that. What happened to those letters? Great question, Mar. Great question. Exactly. Why would he lie in 2017? Why? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, JSD is great. JSD is great. I agree with you. Ah, and in the same type of testimony, the victim, she explains that Keegan Klein was giving her the instructions to how to use the Cash App application. So this is not rocket science. Keegan Klein was a master of manipulation. He was manipulating those girls. Do you think it would be hard for Keegan Klein to instruct a victim to how to receive money via the Cash App application? It's one of the easiest thing for him to do. And in the words of the victim, she said that Anthony Shots instructed me to how to receive to how to use the Cash App application to receive the money. And there are two transcripts. So maybe you are focused on the Keegan Klein's transcript, but you have to do the correlation with the other transcript of one of his victims, and everything becomes more clear, or yeah, more clear. And it wasn't pictures about cash; it was actual money, actual cash. Cryptex, how are you, Carol? How are you? Of course, I agree with you. Yeah, exactly. How did he send the cash to her? Is that in the Keegan Klein interrogation? What about her age? as some are mentioning, concerning her ability to have a cash app. Remember that the use of Libby's phone was not only Libby using her phone. Kelsey was using her phone as well. Of course, that was his business. He paid $10 to one of the girls, and he was selling those pictures for $100 or something like that. I'm just exaggerating, but of course that was part of the operation. And not only that, the whole objective was to get the addresses of those girls. Fishy still here. Why are you so silent, Fishy? You have to be more participate. Okay. Okay, thank you, V. Thank you for that. Did Keegan Klein said anyone else money? Of course. We have the testimony of one of his victims saying that he sent $10 to buy food for herself. I have that sentence in my mind because I was so mad when I was reading that testimony, what that transcript. $10 to buy food for yourself. What can you buy with $10? A can of Coca-Cola and a bag of chips. So the way he was manipulating those girls is just sad. It's just bad. $10 to buy food for yourself. Seriously. Oh no, the $10 was to buy food. The address, or he was looking for, or he was asking for the addresses to send Victoria's Secret's presents. It's two different things. $10 was to buy food. The Victoria's Secret, the clothes, and what was the other thing? The shoes. He was pretending to send those presents to the victim, and he was asking to her for her address to send her those presents. That's the way he was manipulating the girl. You know what I mean? Give me your address and I'm gonna send you Victoria's Secret stuff. Of course he's not gonna send anything to her. He just need the address. And that connects to the ski mask incident. You know? That's the point. And when he was talking to Libby, he was looking for the location where she was supposed to be the day of the murders. It's a modus operandi. That was his modus operandi. But no one wants to believe in that. And it's just clear. It's just clear. Yeah, I understand, USA. Understand that. Fishy, fishy, fishy. Like, why make up the catty finding the top? They just didn't. Reggie said Keegan Klein sold phones with Sesame. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Honestly, my soul is kinda crushed lately. I can't shake it. My soul is kind of crushed too. I feel you, Fishy. We are two crouched souls those days. I don't know if that makes you feel better, but anyways. Give girls nominal amount of money. They send pics, then use their pic to extort something else from them, like a meetup. Exactly. Anna, we need to know what was in Keegan Klein's Dropbox, of course. That's the holy grail here. The Dropbox. That's the holy grail. The answer is there. The solution of this crime is there. In addition to names of underage girls, I assume there were a lot of important adult creepers buying his mod. Yep, 100%. I misunderstood that too. Maybe. I know why, but it's fine. She's gonna be good. She's awesome, and we are here for Fishy for sure. It would be interesting if someone had a blog or something inviting victims of Keegan Klein to describe their experiences. Great uh, proposition or proposal. But the problem there is if those victims are gonna be anonymous, everyone is gonna say that this is fake. And if those victims are not anonymous, they are going to be exposed to the whole YouTube community. So it's not going to happen. I understand your idea behind that. It's a great idea, Anna. It's a great idea. I love it. I love it. But it's just not plausible. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen. But I understand. I would like to have something like that, but anyways, guys, I think it's more than 2 hours. I appreciate your presence, your company. I know that we disagree in a lot of points here, but it's always good to talk to you guys again. Let's wait. Or next week, I'm gonna be with Oksana, and thank you, all eyes. I know that we disagree, and I respect you at all. Thank you so much for being here. You are like a VIP here in this how can we say case, let's say, and everything you're doing is awesome. I go to your website to get the transcripts. The research you do is just awesome, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. And I think the important thing is to discuss. The discussion is important. It's not saying that we are right or wrong. I think when we discuss, we learn one from each other, and I can understand. And I'm not stupid. Like if you tell me, "Hey, Cryptex, you are wrong here," oh shit, I'm wrong. I'm not that stubborn. And in the opposite way is the same, you know. So guys, thank you so much for that, Mara. I'm gonna tell her. See you maybe this week. Monday is holiday here in Canada, so I'm gonna have some time this weekend, and stay in touch. Thank you so much. I appreciate your presence tonight. Stay in touch, guys. Bye bye. Ciao.